You all can hear me? Yep. So once again, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to HELP Matriculation Centre, the department that offers the foundation programs at HELP University. And in line with the university's constant quest for continuous improvement, the department is very mindful in keeping abreast with the latest methods of learning and teaching pedagogies. And here in HMC, it is critical that what is taught at the foundation guides them towards undergraduate study, as well as prepares them with the relevant foundational skills necessary for employment. So once again, hello everyone, I am Vincent Paul JR, a lecturer here at HELP Matriculation Centre, and I will be your moderator for this afternoon's session. And this afternoon, we are looking at science of learning, and art of teaching, second session of webinar, namely movers and shakers, in which we are looking at how do students visualize learning? What does it constitute? And we will also look into these through the answers given by our movers and shakers in the field on how they have gained confidence, how they have realized independence and have achieved success in their respective fields and become leaders of change today. Let me share with you my slideshow. Hold on, yeah. There you go, it's coming right at you. Yes, I hope you can see my slideshow. And so we will also show you the questions we are putting forward to our panel of speakers today in the slideshow that will be shared to you at the moment. Hold on, yeah, let it upload. Okay, I hope you could see my slideshow. Yep. So let's get started. So it is in my distinct pleasure to introduce you to our panel of speakers today. Let me start off with Mr. Khairul Arif. Yes, hello, Mr. Khairul Arif. Khairul Arif here is a psychological officer at a local hospital who assists patients with mental health issues through psychological intervention. Prior to working at his current employment this year, Khairul has spent almost a decade in Australia for studying and working purposes. He's a graduate from Australian National University, where he completed his Bachelor's of Arts in Psychology and Philosophy, and later continued at Flinders University to pursue his Master's in Cognitive Behavior Therapy. He has worked in various roles in the mental health area while he was in Australia. Khairul was a Foundation in Arts student back in 2011 with us, and as a result of his contribution during his time with us at HMC, Khairul was awarded the HMC's Lecturer's Choice Award in 2012. So welcome, Khairul. Thank you for joining us today. Hello, Khairul.
Hi, Vincent.
Yes, hello. Thank you for joining with us. Yeah, and next on the list, we have Leonard Chua, Head of Digital Marketing, Carlsberg Group, Malaysia and Singapore. Leonard has a decade of experience in various local and global brands in digitalizing their marketing efforts and accelerating business growth. He's also an avid content creator who advocates personal growth and mental well-being. Hello, Leonard Chua. Welcome.
Hi, Vincent. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Yes. And our last speaker for today, Mr. Raj Mahal, is a digital strategist with Blank Slate, a digital marketing and creative consulting agency based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Being in the industry for over 6 years, he has assisted numerous SMEs and MNCs, namely McDonald's, GrabFood, and Pigeon, in crafting stellar digital experiences and improving their social media presence. His area of expertise lie in influencer marketing campaigns, social media branding, and agency framework building. He's also an accomplished master of ceremony. So welcome on board, Mr. Raj Mahal.
Vincent, thank you for having me. It's good to meet everyone.
Yeah. And once again, a quick reminder on house rules, please mute your mics. And if you have any questions throughout the session, please send it to us on the chat box. We'll be happy to read them to our panel of speakers so that they may answer you, of course, during the discussion or later at the very end of our session today. So let's get into our discussion today. Yes, here's your first question, dear panel of speakers. So how did you visualize university learning before you joined our foundation program here at HMC? Khairul, you want to tell us about it first?
Sure. I'm happy to start the conversation. First of all, hi everyone. My name is Khairul and welcome to this webinar. Thank you so much for joining in, and hopefully I will be able to share as much as I can in terms of my experience. Although it's only for 1 year at HMC, it certainly has been a very wonderful experience. And coming back to the question that Vincent has put in terms of how did I visualize university learning before I joined the foundation program at HMC. For me, in general, before I got into the foundation program at HMC, I knew that things will be a lot different to what I experienced in high school. It made sense for me though, because to have that kind of expectation, since university learning equals to tertiary learning, whereas high school learning equals to secondary learning. So I would assume that most of the things will be sort of like an upgraded in tertiary learning. With regards to the learning itself, I visualize that the types of assessments, for example, or the assignments that were given in the foundation program would be something that would be totally different to what I used to do back in high school. For example, when I was in high school, the assignment types that I would need to do were meant for straightforward assessments, like preparing for examination, for example, for your mid-year exams or for your final year exam. Whereas in the foundation program, the types of assignments that I received were varied and meant to encourage critical thinking and independent learning. I still remember just one quick example, Vincent, if that's okay. I still remember one particular assignment. This was in my marketing class, whereby my group mates and I needed to come up with a hypothetical product for us to pitch and sell it in a class presentation. So that was really interesting, and it really encouraged me to think outside the box, basically because the preparation that was made leading up to the presentation really encouraged me to be able to think creatively and to also be able to make additional research outside the class. So that's my response, Vincent, to the first question.
Yes, thank you, Khairul. How about Leonard? How did you visualize university learning before you joined our foundation program?
In all honesty, I think being at the age of 19, 20, I was probably as clueless as many young people out there. You don't exactly know. You just know that, hey, I need to go to uni because all my friend goes to uni. So and how that visualize university learning is just purely, it's gonna be a campus, lots of fun, gonna meet lots of people, we're gonna excel in all our subjects. But of course, in reality, that's far from it, right? But one thing I'm glad to actually enrolling into HMC, because I realized that um, the culture and the way the lecturer cultivates learning is just very different as compared to when I was speaking to my other friends who went to other university. Um, so personally, I just enjoy there's a good balance between academic and also some real scenarios that you get to practice whatever you learn. I resonate with what Cairo mentioned earlier on, that there was an assignment where it encourages you to go to different classes, try out different things, and I think little experience like that is really needed, especially among young people these days. So personally, I have benefited much from the whole HMC culture and the art of teaching by some of these amazing lecturers.
Yeah, thank you, Leonard. And how about Raj? How did you visualize learning before you joined our foundation program?
You know, Vincent, I'll be honest with you and everybody's on the live stream right now. I think learning was the least of my concerns before entering to university. I imagined college to be something like High School Musical, where we're dancing around, always laughing, playing basketball or whatnot, right? But I was really, really surprised because everybody was talking about this idea of a culture shock, like a very big transition from secondary school into college and university. And I think the biggest culture shock for me personally was, and this is a good thing, I wouldn't really say it's a culture shock, it's like a cultural upgrade. Back in secondary school, learning felt very one dimensional in the sense that the teacher teaches and we absorb. And the biggest shift, the biggest paradigm shift in college and university was that it started to become a two-way interaction. Teachers didn't just teach, but they made you think. They made you question things. The critical thinking element was very, very heavily emphasized. No like immense amounts of spoon feeding. We will give you somewhere to start, but you have to put in the effort to figure it out. And I think that is really such a valuable skill that I did not expect before entering into college or university. Of course, naturally we would all complain and say, oh, why am I not given like enough guidance or enough support and all that. But over time, after the first semester, when we got into the mood of it, when we got into the groove of it, and we understand why our lecturers are teaching us in this manner, it's a skill that's going to propel you far, really, really far once you start working and beyond as well.
Yeah, thank you, Raj. Culture shock, yeah, it's a word I hear all the time. Students telling me, especially when I teach first semester students, they find it so different from what they thought it was, or how they picturize it, or how they visualize it would be, before coming into, thanks to High School Musical. Yeah. Yeah, let's look at our second question for the day. Yeah, here we go. So, in your perspective as an alumni, as an alumni student, yeah, how did HELP Matriculation Centre help you transition into tertiary learning? Cairo, do you want to go first?
Yep. So I certainly believe that HMC facilitated my transition into tertiary learning in terms of being able to improve and being able to increase my skills, certain skills, like I mentioned earlier, in terms of being able to increase my creative thinking skills, like what Raj mentioned earlier, independent learning skills, as well as cultural understanding skills that Leonard mentioned earlier. Because all in all, these I would say, we call it soft skills. All these skills that we talk about, all these soft skills were, I believe, improved as a result of my time at HMC, which really helped me to prepare myself into tertiary learning that I had for the following years. And I certainly do believe that these skills were gained in various kinds of environment that were not limited to just being in classes at HMC. So that's my response, Vincent.
Yes, thank you, Cairo. And how about Leonard? How did HMC help you transition into tertiary learning? Would you share with us some experiences here?
I mean, writing on what I mentioned earlier is that, you know, entering to college and all this, you may not have a clue exactly what are your strengths are. You may not have a clue of what exactly you want to major on. So coming into HMC, being able to expose yourself to different subjects and getting a taste of the different subjects before you decide to what you want to major on, I think that's very crucial. So to everyone that is listening out there, don't be afraid that if you are clueless at this moment of what you want to study, or sometimes you may even be super sure of what you want to study because your friend tells you so, because of what the media tells you so. Yeah, digital is the way to go, analytics is the way to go, and it's true. Those are the way to go. But anyways, but what I'm trying to say is that, or what your parents have to tell you what you should study. I think most importantly is that, HMC, it's like a bridge, right? It really help you ease the whole crossing over uh, much easily, and you get a taste of the different subjects before you make up your mind. Hey, this is something that I'm passionate about, because there are a lot of things that may seem you like the idea of those subject, you like the idea of those major, but in reality, when you begin to get onto it, it may not be something that you really want to study. So in that way, HMC has facilitated the whole transition for me to decide, hey, psychology is what I want to pursue.
Yes. Thank you, Leonard. Yeah. And how about Raj? How did HMC help you transition into tertiary learning?
That's a very good question, Vincent. I honestly think it all boils down into the way this whole program has been structured. This whole HMC program, a Foundation in Arts, I was in Foundation in Arts 5, 6 years ago, and the entire program is structured in a way that you get a smooth transition into tertiary learning, but it doesn't stop there. We also develop skills that you're going to carry for the rest of your life. And I'll give you an example. One of the units that we took back in HMC was called critical thinking skills. Now, in critical thinking skills, we learn about a few things. We learn about the fallacies of the mind, thought patterns that could be damaging to us, and how do we rectify them. We learn about the importance of journaling. We learn about the 7 habits of highly effective people. So that is one way, through critical thinking skills that we develop. It's going to help us become more successful and more well adjusted to tertiary education, because these are the skills that you need. But it doesn't stop there, because once you go into the workforce, you will need critical thinking skills if you want to be able to be a competent member of the workforce. Not just competent, but an excellent member as well. Technical skill is very important, but people skill, the ability to self-regulate, that is going to bring you above and beyond. And I'm very glad that this is something that was taught in HMC, because it has benefited me immensely. That's number one. And number two, also through the way the units are structured, the way the courses were taught. Like I said in my previous point as well, spoon feeding is at a minimum. The lecturers teach you something, they give you a bit of guidance, but then it is up to you to figure out how to solve a problem. Try, fail, try again, fail again. Eventually, you will figure out the answers to your solutions or to your assignments. Of course, the level of guidance given is appropriate, not too little and not too much. And that has definitely helped me to transition into tertiary education, and even up until entering the working world now as well.
Yeah, thank you, Raj, on that. Yeah, let's look at our next question for the day. And here you go. Yeah, so let's start with Khairul. So Khairul, do you remember facing any challenges when you were with us at HMC? And how have we been of help to you?
All right. So thank goodness I was blessed that my fellow batch peers were generally easygoing, friendly, and kind. I always count my blessings on that, because I know that some people may not have the same situation, or quite a very blissful situation as I was. But the same could also be said to the lecturers as well that were at HMC at the time. So as far as I could remember, the challenges that I had during my time at HMC were either assessment related or co-curriculum related. But one particular challenge that I'd like to share with everyone that I faced at that time, that I still remember to this day, because it was quite meaningful to me, was organizing an event, quite a big event, that's called C2H. I'm not sure whether everyone is familiar with that, but C2H is an animation, comics, and games ACG event that I was fortunate enough to be a part of the organizing committee for the year that I was at HMC. So we can imagine that holding a large scale event that would occur at a public venue, and I think that year it was held at Tropicana City Mall. I think it's called something else now, but anyway, it was held at Tropicana City Mall for that year. So I thought at that time, before realizing making that event become a reality, I thought that it was a very challenging and quite monumental task, because you can imagine that for a couple of 18-year-olds, and to be able to hold such a very big event. It can be quite challenging and daunting, especially for a first-timer. So there were a lot of issues and challenges that came up prior to the event, but the advisors, the lecturers, they provided sort of guidance and advice whenever we needed, and as a result, C2H was successfully held on that year. That event was also the first time I actually appeared on the local television for an interview of a segment that they did for that event. So I had a lot of positive memories based on that particular experience that initially I thought and saw as a challenge. So before I end, listen on that note, I just would like to take this opportunity to thank one of the lecturers, Mr. Murali. I'm not sure whether he's still at HMC. I hope he still is, for all the help that he provided to make the event become a reality.
Yes, thank you, Carol. Well, Mr. Murali is the one who also trained me to run this webinar today. So
I see.
Yeah, I went to him. He was my first person to look for, when they told me that I'm the moderator for today. So I was like, the first person I know that could help me was Mr. Murali. Yeah, he's still around, but he couldn't join us today. Yeah. So I will let him know about this. Yeah. Thank you, Cairo. And how about Leonard? Do you remember facing any challenges when you were with us here at HMC? And how were we of a help for you here when you were with us?
I think being a student, sometimes when you are assigned a task or an assignment, oftentimes it's you're pretty clueless, right? And the best thing about this lecture is that they are able to really break down the expectation and how you should approach certain problems or challenges. So to me, that is something that I really find helpful and good about a certain lecturer. So having said that, I can also relate to Cairo because myself too are being assigned by Mr. Murali. This lecturer is awesome because he would just throw you to the deep sea and let you learn to swim. And I think that's the best way to learn, even for all the students or aspiring uni students who are tuning in. I just think that learning must go beyond just your textbooks. Learning goes beyond just attending classes, but make yourself available whenever your lecturers assign you for something, or even if you're not assigned, volunteer yourself for it, because it is true that I was supposed to put up a really good, big event, a 24-hour charity dance marathon. That's crazy. 24 hours, that's insane. And I have to raise the fund because I'm the chairperson of the whole event. So I have to raise the fund. I have to form the committee. So you have to lead, you have to project manage the whole thing, ensuring that it becomes a successful event. But what I'm trying to say here is not so much about the event itself, but throughout the whole entire experience. I mean, it's my first event, right? As a college student, as a 20-year-old, you're supposed to put up this whole thing. You face different kind of challenges, communication challenges, project management challenges, and just a lot of it. But lecturers and various lecturers are just there with different strength and just there to guide you. So that's what makes it different, because I do hear sometimes students complaining about, other university where the lecturer just throw them in the sea without any life jacket and just expect them, okay, I'll see you back at the shore. So, but thankfully that didn't happen to me in HELP. Thankfully, Mr. Murali has got our back. So I hope that answers the question.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Leonard. Yeah. So 24 hours dance show, was it? Yeah, I can already feel how difficult it could have been, by the name, hearing the name itself.
Yeah. So we have about 110 committee members because they all take different shifts. So just imagine leading a team of 110 people.
Whoa, okay,
Yeah.
That is really a challenge. Yeah.
Yes, it's really insane. Yeah.
And yeah, last on the list, Raj, how about you? Do you remember facing any challenges when you were with us, and how have we been of help for you?
Vincent, definitely 1,001 challenges. Because it's such a transitionary time for a lot of us entering into college, right? We're all entering a new phase of life. So challenges after challenges is normal. And I share a lot of sentiments with Leonard and Kyrol as well. I faced challenges in that aspects, whether it's working on an assignment or a group project or dealing with people. The you see the interesting is, right, Vincent, the one reason why I will never forget HMC and the impact that it has had on my life is because of the dedication that the entire team at HMC put into their job. The staff, the lecturers, the people running HMC, just so much of devotion to your task and your responsibilities. And it shows through the way that you guys teach the students. It shows through the way that you guys run the organization. It is evident within HMC. And I'll give you a perfect example, right? So when I entered into college, naturally I was abusing this newfound freedom that I had. I wasn't sleeping on time. I was spending time with my new college friends a lot. I was not being a very responsible young adult. Now let's put it that way. And unfortunately, with all these commitments and these responsibilities that I was picking up, I started to slack in class a little bit in my second semester. So once in a while, because of the lack of sleep, I'm up gaming till late at night or going out with my friends. I unfortunately used to doze off in class a little bit, and my lecturers used to catch me doing that. And I still remember on one fine day, they would tell me off in class, they'd be like, Raj, please focus, don't fall asleep and all that. And I remember one fine day, I was walking down through the corridor, and one of the lecturers, Miss Yu Maylin, she pulled me to the side and she said, Raj, I need to talk to you. I've been hearing from the lecturers that you've been falling asleep in class. What's going on? How can I help you? Are you okay? Is everything fine? And that moment really, really stuck with me because I know for a fact it is not just with Miss You. I see in all the other lecturers that I've worked with and who have taught me, they have this sense of devotion and duty to their job. They understand that they are nurturing students, and it's not like, okay, my student is not doing well, guns blazing, I'm going to come out, I'm going to scold you, I'm going to make your life hell. It's not that. It's really tender loving care and trying to understand what is going on. They're always there to support you. So that moment really, really showed me and affirmed me that these lecturers that I'm seeing every day on a daily basis, they really want the best for me. And I think that's the magic behind HMC, where the lecturers, the team really care for you. So that was one of the challenges that I was facing, and that was how I have been helped in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Raj. Yeah, it is true. We agree. Yeah, sometimes we do have students, they are tired, and we have to make sure we are running classes as exciting as possible so that they are awake throughout the session. Yeah, that is one. Let's look at the next question. Yeah, coming up at you. Yep. Yeah. Have these challenges in any way helped you in your working life? Cairo.
Yep, 100%.
Yes.
Definitely, these challenges certainly helped me in my working life, especially in my situation, because straight after I graduated from HMC, I went to Australia. And the fact that I spent there for almost 10 years for studying and working purposes, I was able to actually recall and implement all the skills, all the positive impacts that I learned from these challenges at HMC at a situation whereby it's actually very, very different to what I was accustomed to before I actually went to Australia. So coming back to the work life, it's number one, it's totally different back in Australia and back home in Malaysia. So the fact that I was able to develop, further develop and improve on my I'm always keep saying soft skills because it's true. Soft skills are what separate us from different, from others. You may have all the same qualifications. You may have same background information in terms of academic related, but soft skills are what separate you from other people. So definitely through these challenges that I had when I was at HMC, I was able to really sharpen and increase my soft skills ability. And as a result of that, I was able to have a much better experience in terms of my working life. Because all of these soft skills, for example, time management, teamwork, creative thinking, which, there is a particular class like Raj mentioned earlier being taught at HMC, networking skills and also conflict resolution skills, they are all very important at the workplace. And if you are able to learn all of these at such a young age, whereby your mindset is still not sort of like hard set in stone, you are still able to mold, you are still able to sort of like learn all these kind of things in a conducive and safe environment, then it would certainly help you in the future, be it in your personal life and also your working life. Thank you, Vincent.
Yes, thank you, Cairo. And how about Leonard? Have these challenges in any way helped you in your working life? Share with us some idea.
For sure. I think being in a uni life or even just about to enter uni, like some of you guys here that's tuning in, is that it's the best time for you to make mistakes. You would realize that you will have a lot of miscommunication when it comes to human communication. You realize you make a lot of mistake through your project management. You realize you would mess things up along the way. You would exceed your due dates most of the time, your deadline. Um, and it is through these challenges, it is through these mistakes that it propels you, the it prepares you, and it also gets you more ready for the workplace. Because when you enter the workplace, these basics, I consider them as basics, has already been established. And when you enter a workforce, this is where you start climbing, you start excelling. The problem is that most of the time, students don't get opportunity or even expose themselves to challenges. I always tell people that in uni is where your best time to fail. In uni is where your best time to learn. Um, and and back to my answer earlier is that always find opportunity to get involved with projects, because that is what is gonna accelerate your learning, not just your classes that you attend to.
Oh, yes, thank you for that, Leonard. And Raj, how have these challenges in any way helped you in your working life? Tell us about it.
I agree 100% what Kyril and Leonard have just shared. It's very interesting because I think we are all on the same page about soft skills, right? Uh, First of all, I don't even know why we call it soft skills. It should be called essential skills. Like rock solid skills. You really, really need to have that. Time management, critical thinking skills, communication skills. I was reading a research paper the other day. 70% of your ability to progress in your career is dependent on your communication skill. It is so, so important. And of course, I think all of us went through similar challenges while we were in HMC. Like Leonard was saying, project management, deadlines, and Kairos was mentioning about dealing with people, interacting with people, and communicating. I think the fact that we went through these struggles while we were in HMC, we learned from our falls. We had an amazing support system to guide us back up. That has definitely impacted us and entering into the working life, because we have these core skills, these important skills, these basics that have thankfully benefited us once we have started working. So definitely these challenges have really molded me. I'm sure it has molded all of us and a lot of the other alumni as well.
Yes, thank you, Raj, for your answer. Okay, let's look at the following question. Yes. So in your own words, we'll start with Kyrol once again. Kyrol, in your own words, why HELP University's foundation program, and why is it special to you?
Yep. So earlier I have shared already a few particular experiences that I had during my time at HMC. I have nothing but fond memories of HMC because HMC was the place where I got to learn for the first time the topic that would lead me to become what I am today. And the topic was psychology. HMC was the place where it was the first and last time, I hope, I was in a play or drama type of situation, and that time I realized that I'm not suited to become an actor. That was also the class, because that was actually for a class assignment that I had to do. I think that was for a mass communication assignment, which I think also Mr. Murali was the lecturer. I'm not so sure, but still, it was something that I really felt a little bit, yeah, because I'm not that kind of person. But yeah, because I certainly had a lot of memories, whether it's not maybe it's not unpleasant at first, but at the end of the day, it really helped me to become and grow as a person. And HMC was also the place where I was fortunate enough to really expand my horizon in terms of getting to know and making friends with individuals, with others from different cultural backgrounds than me. Because I was in a boarding school, I was in a primary school where really the culture is sort of like really majority of the individuals in that setting were really sort of one culture, whereas when I was at HMC, I was really being involved and sort of like understand a little bit better in the differences between the cultural backgrounds, because this was really important, this particular point, because after that I would actually spend almost 10 years at a different environment, at a different culture than what I was to. And that's why I believe foundation program, because I did foundation in arts, that particular program was really quite meaningful to me, and I think it is a special program for me. Thank you, Vincent.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Carroll. Yeah. How about Leonard? Yeah, in your own words, why HELP University's foundation program, and why do you think it is special for you?
Okay, to begin with, to be really realistic is that out of the many private colleges, HMC program is definitely one of the more affordable one among the private university, the private universities. Secondly, again, I guess it's no brainer that everyone wants to make sure that they enter a program that is credible, that is well recognized by other universities for those students that are planning to study abroad. So I think it's very important. But I think from all Cairo, Raj, even myself, what that we explain is that you realize that we talk very little about the classes itself, because I guess that's just a given, right? Every uni is the same. But if you notice, we talk a lot about the projects that we take on. So I think that's what makes HMC different, is that you have opportunity, you have assignment that requires you to take on certain projects, and that is the way that it develops your leadership skills. That is where it develops your essential skills, your rock solid skills, like Raj put it. And that's what makes it different. And to me, that's what makes it special.
Yes, thank you, Leonard. Yeah. And yeah, last on the list, yeah, Raj. In your own words, yeah, why HELP University's foundation program, and why is it special?
So, Vincent, for a few things. Number one is the variety of units, subjects that we can take in HMC. Of
Mhm.
course, we have the core selection of units and then the electives as well. Very, very interesting bunch of electives that we can choose from. Because you see, like in the past, I believe there was a huge market for specialists, people who are really, really good in one specific industry or in one specific job. But as the markets change over the year, there's also a lot of value in being a generalist as well. And what I mean by this is that you're good in one thing, you excel in one thing, but you have basics in many other areas as well. So the fact that we have a whole bunch of core units and a diverse selection of electives, it allows you to become a generalist and it helps you to decide what you want to study when you further your education to university and even into the workforce. So for example, for myself, right, I took Visual Basics Programming. That's a coding language. Even though it's not one of the most popular coding languages in the world right now, the mindset, the thought process behind programming, logic, sequence, structure, there is something that can be applied into everything: project management, building things from the ground up. So the first thing is definitely the choice of subjects that we are given. Now, number two, definitely what makes this foundation program really special is the fact that the team behind HMC has not created this program to create book smart people, right? The program is intended to create smart people, holistically intelligent people who are able to do things both practically, to understand maybe more complex theories, and also to be emotionally strong, empathic, and resilient people. So it is a very, very holistic development. The mindset behind it is it encompasses a lot of things, not just being book smart. And of course, the final thing, the third thing, is really the devotion, the dedication that the team has, the lecturers, the staff, the people running the whole of the foundation in arts and the foundation in science program. That was definitely, I think, the cherry on top of the cake into why the HELP University program is just so, so special.
Yes, thank you, Raj. And well, before we move on to the last question of the day, a quick question to all three of you. Other than your event management, your difficult assignments that you went through, the challenging ones especially, tell us about some of your, memories when you went into class, some of your lectures, or maybe some of your difficult or challenging tests that you've been through when you were with us in HMC. Let it be test, assignment, or maybe even lectures, perhaps. Do you have any stories you want to tell us about before we move on to the last question of the day? Yeah, Khairul, we'll start with you.
Wow. Okay. So I think that because there are a lot to choose from, and I think the highlight of my time at HMC was the one that I shared earlier, the C2H event, because I think that that particular event really helped me to, because I was in charge of the sponsors. I was in charge of looking for potential organizations to be able to sponsor that particular event. So, I got to email a lot of celebrities. I got to email a lot of sort of like well-known people at the time. And we even actually went on a road trip to Malacca at that time just to look for sponsors. So that is something that I never thought would happen if I was not at HMC. Um, Sorry, I do not have a particular assessment or classes related, because like Raj and Leonard mentioned earlier, you majority of the experiences that you will have that I had at HMC were outside of classes related, because I think that's really, really important, since there's so much that you can do and there's so much that you can gain in the classroom, because the world is out there. You got to experience what you can experience in a safe and conducive environment, and with the help and the assistance of the lecturers, that would really help us to be able to develop and really enhance our potential. So I think that's my fondest memory, Vincent.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you, Carol. And how about Leonard? Do you have any fond memories other than your project management that you want to tell us about?
Yeah, I guess you're bored of my project management stories already. Anyway, just kidding. Fond memories. Um, so to all the students that's tuning in right now, we used to study in the future upcoming pavilion. So in future, if you do walk in that place, remember we used to study underground. Probably in the future it will be your B1, B2 parking lots. But that's exactly where we study. It's like a bomb shelter. We are underground. There's no windows. It's like some secret agent office. Yeah, it's just imagine you walk through a tunnel, a long tunnel. There's just rooms and rooms and rooms and rooms and rooms. Yeah. So to me, that is quite a surreal experience. Because when you finally leave the class, you come out and you see sunlight and you realize, wow. So I don't. So that is a very different um, uh, experience and memory. I think it's something that until today, if you have went through that, it's something that you talk about and you laugh about it.
Yeah, thank you, Leonard. So, and
Yeah.
then let's move on to our last question for the day. I think we are running out of time. Yes, we'll start with Khairul. Yep. Yeah. So Khairul, for the benefit of our current and prospective students who are listening to us right now, could you elaborate some of the best attributes students should have to be successful in their undergraduate studies?
So certainly there are a lot of attributes. We may have different wording, we may have different understanding or even interpretation about the attributes that students or we, I mean, we used to be students, but not now. But the characteristics that we should have, ideally, that can help us to be successful in undergraduate studies. And I think it's really applicable not only to undergrad studies but also postgrad studies, because I managed to, thank goodness, be able to achieve my undergrad as well as my postgrad within 5 years. So I think based on my own experience, there are a few, there are a lot certainly, but maybe for the benefit of the viewers and listeners, and also bearing in mind the time, there are, I would say, let's pick top two attributes that maybe ideally, if students have this, then hopefully they can try to be successful in their studies. The first one is, I think, having that motivation and commitment in that particular course or studies that they do. So being able to have this particular, trait, having the motivation to learn, I believe can generate a lot of positive attitude and hard work in classes, and not in classes, in general, basically, because as you know from the stories that all three of us have shared earlier, there will be a lot of experiences, there will be a lot of challenges that you will need to do outside of classes. So having that motivation and commitment can certainly help you to be able to be successful in your studies. And I also believe this particular trait can encourage us to have a stronger mental resilience. Being able to learn all of this at such a young age, it can really help you to build up your mental resilience, being able to actually face the challenges that you have with a bit more positivity and with a bit more sort of like a positive mental attitude, because when you have a positive attitude, then you'll be able to face any challenges with a positive outcome, hopefully. And then the second one is in relation to having that sort of enthusiasm, being able to have that really passion when it comes to doing something that we want to do, especially if you are passionate about, for example, psychology. I keep on mentioning psychology because HELP University is quite up there when it comes to psychology subject. If you are really passionate about psychology, then you will be able to do a lot of research, additional research. You'll be able to not only be able to do the transcribe or suggested, or I'm sorry, required readings in that particular topic, that to show you are passionate in that particular thing that you do, especially when it comes to studies, being able to do that additional research. You go out of sort of like what is being recommended to you, that really shows that you are passionate about your studies, and hopefully that can really be a stepping stone to you becoming successful in your undergraduate studies. Certainly there are a lot of other attributes that I believe can help students to be successful, but for the sake of the viewers and for the time that we have, I think these top two can help viewers or students, potential college students, to have and ideally, hopefully, that can help them to be successful in their studies. Thank you, Vincent.
Yeah, thank you, Cairo. And Leonard, what do you think are some of the best attributes students should have to be successful in their undergraduate studies?
Okay, firstly, I think being proactive is very important, because you need to be hungry. You need to seek out for opportunity to learn, opportunity to be involved, just making yourself available and just being proactive. I think that's first thing. Not just be successful in your undergraduate studies, but also be successful generally in life. Firstly, secondly, is that instead of we live. I realize that we all grew up with a lot of lies. Let me tell you some of the lies that people tell you, that you need to find your purpose. But in reality, many people don't even find their purpose until the very moment that they die. So instead of finding your purpose, learn to create purpose in everything that you do. See yourself as an important asset in your studies. See yourself as an important candidate, a talent in the place that you're working, whether even if it's a part-time job that you're doing at the moment. So that's second. Thirdly, apply passion in everything that you do. Just because you're doing something that is not of your passion. For example, I love music, but that doesn't mean when I do other things that are nothing related to music that I shouldn't apply passion. So you gotta apply passion in everything that you do. And when you do that, people recognize that, people can see it because it tells from the outcome of your work, whether it's your assignment or whether it is whatever task that was being assigned to you. And lastly, being forward thinking. We are living in 2020 now. So I believe, at least for me, I'm not sure about Cairo or Raj, we social media wasn't as mature as now. We are unable to predict the future. We are unable to have a foresight of the future. But you guys now being in your 17, 18, 19 years old, you have the opportunity through social media, through a well-connected world, to see the future literally. Like if I were to ask you, what do you think is the future? I could think you can easily tell me that, oh, it's going to be tech, it's going to be automation, it's going to be robotics, because these things are no brainer anymore because you are aware of it, you read news about it, you know. So being forward thinking, and also um, apply uh, imagination in everything that you do. I want to imagine how the future is going to be like. I want to imagine what I do today. How can it benefit the future? So that is something that is lacking, that not many people do that, but I think there's power in imagination. So that would sum up the four values, the four attributes that whoever that asks me as a student, and that's exactly what I'll tell them.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you, Leonard. And lastly, Raj, what do you think are attributes students should have to be successful in their
Uh,
studies?
Vincent, I wasn't exactly the most model student when I was in HMC. In fact, I wish I could watch this replay and listen to the advice that Kyrol and Leonard has given now and applied it while I was back in HMC. Would have made, maybe the journey a bit smoother. But definitely, like we discussed before, challenges mold us and they shape us. And three things which now looking back I feel that I may have done inadvertently that has helped me is: number one, you guys need to have communication skills. This is very, very important. It's all right if you don't have it now, but take this time, this next 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years to start developing this skill. Communication is very, very important. Learn how to speak precisely, accurately, and to convert your thoughts into words. This is a very, very important skill. I cannot emphasize enough how vital it is that you guys develop the skills over this next few years. That's number one. Number two, ABL, always be learning. You have to know for a fact that the world is moving so quickly. No matter what industry you're in, change is happening at such a rapid rate, and you must really embody this fact that whatever you know today might change drastically tomorrow. So always be updated and accept the fact that you need to keep learning for the rest of your life. Not in the sense that, oh, I need to learn to survive, but I need to learn to be a master of my craft and to enjoy what I'm doing. It's fine if you don't know what you want to do now. That is why we have this next 3 years or so to discover. Don't stress out about it too much. I know it's challenging. It can be very complex, but um, the universe will give you your answer, to put it very simply. As long as you keep on putting yourself out there and trying, the answers will come to you. And the third thing, my last point, is you need to start developing a sense of responsibility. We are teenagers, we are children, but as we enter into college and university, we're starting to become adults. And responsibility is one of the hallmark traits of being an adult. In the past, we can complain, we can make noise, or say what we want to say if you're facing a challenge. And now as adults, please continue complaining, please continue making noise. It helps to de-stress, but you have to understand that at the end of the day, the power is in your hands to get to where you want to be. You can complain, make noise, whatever. I do it all the time. I complain every day, but I understand the fact that at the end of the day, it is my responsibility. The decision is in my hands to solve my problem. So have responsibility. And please take all this advice that Cairo, Leonard, and myself have shared, and it'll definitely smoothen your journey in your undergraduate studies.
Yeah, thank you, Raj, for that. Yeah, so we have come to the end of our webinar today. Thank you for listening once again. Before we end, thank you very much for providing us with your great insights on how do we bridge the gap between what needs to be taught in the university, what the industry requires, and thank you very much for sharing with us your fondest memories when you were with us in HMC. So before we end, we would just like to look at some questions. We would like to open the floor to some questions from our audience. If you have any, you may ask some. You may put some on the chat box for us to answer it for you. Or else, I think we are running out of time. I'm so sorry. So we could look at, before we end, just a quick reminder. For those of you who are interested on our HMC's foundation programs, yes, you can always email us. If you can look at the two emails that are shown on the slideshows, you can email Ahmad Radin and Adrian for more questions on the foundation program. And just a quick reminder to all of you, our people who are interested with our HMC's program, we are offering foundation program. We have one intake coming in July, on the 22nd of July, and another one coming in September 2020. So for more information, do not hesitate to contact the emails that you see now at the slideshow. Thank you for joining with us. Please stay safe. And just like what our Prime Minister said, kita jaga kita. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed the time here. Thank you for listening, and see you again on another webinar. Till then, take care, goodbye, and good afternoon, everyone.